Hi everyone, Ida from PGP here, and welcome back to Headline Mondays. So, what happened last week? Well, while it wasn't as much of a crazy week as the earlier weeks in February have been, there was still some exciting stuff. So, let's dive in. So, on Monday, we heard that Martin Brundle, a former F1 driver and also now a commentator, came out and said that he thinks it is likely that Andretti was actually rejected because the Concord Agreement, which is kind of like a governing document kind of situation in F1, will actually be renegotiated soon. So he thinks once that's done, Andretti has another shot, which, I mean, the FIA has been open, and also F1 has been open in saying they're willing to keep the conversation going, just Andretti can't join right now. And then in other news on Monday, it was announced that Fred Vesti will be Merck's reserve driver next season, this season, next to Mick Schumacher, who will also do VEC. And then on Tuesday, we had the news that Mike Crack, the team principal over at Aston Martin, actually came out and said he wants to retain Fernando for another 2 years post 2024, because Fernando's contract is up in 2024 like so many other drivers, and because of A, the Lewis move, and B, because his contract is up at the end of this season, there have been rumors that he would be a candidate for the empty Mercedes seat. But on the heels of the Mike Crack news, Fernando also came out and said that he has not been in touch with Mercedes, likely also to squash those rumors. And then on Wednesday, we heard from Fred Vasseur, team principal at Ferrari, and he came out and said that it was a very tough decision to let Carlos go, and that phone call was one of the hardest he's ever had to make. And so there have been rumors circulating whether Charles Leclerc knew about the Lewis move before he signed his contract extension, or whether he signed it blindly, or what that dynamic was. And he basically came out and said, Charles did, that he knew that was going to be a possibility, that in 2025 he would be driving with Lewis, because contracts like that take time. So there were only, I want to say, rumors. And on the whole rumor front, actually, it's funny, because Zhou Guanyu also came out and said he knew about the Lewis move before it was announced. And I just love the fact that the two fashion kings of the paddock knew about this before anyone else, and that Zhou was just keeping his mouth shut, being the unproblematic king that he is. Yeah. And from an Alfa Romeo, well, now Sauber, driver to a former Sauber or Alfa Romeo employee, because the former technical director at Sauber is actually now going to be the single-seater technical director of the FIA. So for those of you who don't know, the FIA, while yes, they're the governing body of Formula One, they're also the governing body of motorsports in general. So they govern VEC, they govern rally car, etc. So it's not just single-seaters, etc. It's basically if a car has 4 wheels, the FIA is kind of in charge of it. Simply put. Anyway, because on Wednesday it was also Ferrari car launch day, that's why we heard from Fed and Charles regarding the Carlos and Lewis move. We also heard from Charles regarding the SF24, this season's car, and he said that it was healthier than the SF23, last year's car, and that is a very good sign. And I don't know whether you guys are on top of like lore social media and stuff, but basically there's this thing going around, this thing been happening every year when Ferrari launched their car, that basically you could tell how good the car was based on what emoji Charles uses when speaking about the car, like after the car launch on Instagram. And so basically a lot of fangirls or fans in general waited with bated breath, myself included, what emoji he would use, and thankfully he used a very positive emoji. I can't off the top of my head recall what emoji he used, but I think it was one with a heart. A heart was involved, so that's a very good sign. And then also on Wednesday, we got some F3 testing results. So all the different feeder series have testing, but F2 has very restricted testing, meaning that oftentimes F2 drivers will test drive F3 cars just so they get a feel, they get practice in essentially. And Kimi Antonelli, who this season jumped from FRECA, F4 essentially, into F2. So he basically didn't do F3, he jumped straight into F2. And basically the engineers at that testing day said that he was the best person to be in an F3 car since Max Verstappen, who, if you guys remember, skipped over F2 and went straight into F1 from F3 back in 2015. So that's very promising, and of course that once again stoked the fire that are the rumors that Kimi Antonelli will replace Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes in 2025, even though Mercedes came out and said that's basically not going to happen. I don't think it will happen, honestly, because while, yes, it kind of worked for Max, he was still in Toro Rosso, basically Red Bull's junior team, which Williams is kind of the junior team to Mercedes, for a while. I can't recall whether it was a full season or not, but basically he didn't start his F1 career in Red Bull, so I don't see Mercedes, who is very good at letting their juniors develop in Williams before moving them to Mercedes, I don't see Mercedes just bumping Kimi into Mercedes right off the bat. Anyway, Thursday. While there was this week no true Horner update, like the whole investigation thing, there were rumors swirling that Bernie Ecclestone, the former owner of F1 before Liberty Media took over, actually encouraged Horner to step down as team principal. And those rumors got so out of hand that Bernie Ecclestone actually came out on social media and said that he was not in touch with Horner regarding this, that he didn't encourage him to step down, etc., and to stop spreading false information. Which, if you know Bernie Ecclestone and what his era of Formula One was like, is very unusual for him to do. And then we have two more pieces of news. We have, once again, Charles news. It feels like I'm only talking about him this week, but that's what happened. So basically, it came out, he released some new music, 4 songs to be specific, together with the French pianist Sofiane Bamar. I hope my high school French did me right there. But basically, they released an album, and you can even get the vinyl of it with 2 songs on each side of the vinyl. And while I haven't looked into getting the vinyl, so I can't confirm prices or anything, I just find it very cool because, yes, I'm a Charles girly, but his music is good regardless. And I mean, he's an F1 driver, come on. He doesn't need to make music to pay his bills. This is literally just a side quest for him, and for him to be good at that is amazing. And then also, we heard about Charlotte Tilbury, the British makeup company, actually partnering with F1 Academy and sponsoring a whole livery for Lola. And that is just amazing. And while, of course, there has been backlash already, because it's too girly, etc., I still find it amazing because it shows that you can like motorsport while also being a girl, while also liking makeup. Like, I don't have to feel ashamed for filming these videos like with a full face of makeup on and basically what is an evening gown. So that's, at least for me, that was very cool to see, and I look forward to seeing that livery on track. Hope you guys enjoyed the headline overview this week, and see you guys next week.